In today's video, we're going to be talking about Elbieta's past life. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Different Breed, aka The Headache, and if you haven't been here before, this channel goes over games through the forms of gameplay tutorials and other avenues like this video. So if you haven't seen any video in this series, we're going to be going over Elbieta's background and not anything game mechanic-y. If you find yourself in enjoyment at any point, consider sharing this with somebody. So without any further ado, let's find out who Elbieta Bozak is, or as you may know her, Ela. As I just said, Ela's real name is Elbieta Bozak. She was born on November 8th, 1985, which makes her 33 years old now. She was born in Wrocław, Poland. Elbieta grew up as the youngest daughter in a military family, as her father was a commander of the Poland's counterterrorism unit Grom. Although this did not make Elbieta a perfect soldier. As do some children rebel against their parents, Elbieta didn't see military as her lifelong goals, unlike her sister Zofia. Her grandfather played a significant role in her life. He was an elite special operations paratrooper of the exiled Polish army during World War II. He was captured during the Warsaw Uprising but was able to escape the Nazi invasion to try and find relief in Wrocław. Too bad he didn't see that relief, as then he had to endure a 3-month-long siege to the city. Elbieta's grandfather shared all of his war stories with her as she was growing up. Through his tales, he nurtured her defiant spirit and taught her that higher damage is done by striking a supply chain than by neutralizing a man. This resonated with Elbieta and made her really good at finding the details in everyday life and picking out the things that don't seem right. But this didn't define her. Like I said before, military wasn't something she looked forward to becoming, and the problems she faced while growing up pushed her even further away. Elbieta was bullied while attending military high school because of the special attention that she got since her father was the Grom commander. Something happened just 6 months before her graduation date that caused her to be expelled from the school, and she was transferred to another academy which she had poor attendance to. Her lack of attendance caused her to be transferred to a small local high school where she ended up graduating. After graduation, she left Poland behind and wanted to experience a whole new life, where she studied fine arts in Berlin. Is that a complete shift or what? From fighting to artistry. Although she didn't completely shift over. While in Berlin, she met someone who ended up offering her a job in a small private military company that they owned. The appeal of her old life took over, hoping that a role as a contractor would differ from the simplistic compliance she experienced at the military academy, and her craving for adventure and financial independence brought her to accept the offer. Although by the looks of it, her old life wasn't really an old life. If she graduated high school at the typical age of 18, she must have only spent months, if that, studying the fine arts, because she not only has Sears training, or survive, evade, resist, and extract training, along with BAD, battle damage assessment training, but she also was already out in the field being a part of seizing the Muckaranian Dam, which happened in 2003 when she was still 18. That must have been a really busy year for her. Going from military school to regular school to art school to military training to field work, and I think I'm busy. Elbieta spent years working as a PMC in Iraq, where she did insurgency operations. These were where she worked with coalition forces to disrupt opposing forces. While in Iraq, she gained a reputation as somebody who has an impressive range of abilities, but her attitude is lackluster. She has a problem with authority, which caused her employers to monitor her closely. In 2003, the US Army's 3rd Infantry Division launched an assault on the airport, which was known at the time as Saddam International Airport. The reason for the takeover could have been to defend civil aviation, but it was also a good tactical point to have. Sounds like a win-win. The airport was successfully captured and renamed the Baghdad International Airport by US Command. In 2004, it was given back to civilian control. So maybe she did some work with it from then until 2005, but we don't really have any specifics on what she did there. 4 years after her start as a PMC, Elbieta received a letter from home which stated that her father had taken his life. This news weighed heavily on her, and after a few months of receiving the letter, she terminated her contract with the private military. She developed a great need of purpose from her father's death, and she went into training in order to pass the Grom selection as a civilian. She worked really hard because she felt the need to prove her worth to her father and make amends. We just don't know what needed to be amended. Maybe she thought she failed him for not going straight into Grom and wanting to be something completely different, or maybe it was because she couldn't remember the last time that she talked to him. We're not sure. Good news is, Grom was impressed by her determination and expertise on the field that they took her in. Elsbieta used the memory of her father to push herself to unrealistic standards. There was nothing she was afraid to do. She was found to be really good in counter-threat networks, and she helped design advanced exploitation methods to extract intel on targets' intentions and supply routes. So basically, she was good at getting information from people. Sound like someone familiar? Her first operation is Operation Black Spade in 2006. Being a fictional operation, we can make only some speculations on what happened there. If we look around though, we can find an operation with a similar name from Ghost Recon Wildlands, which we've seen operatives in there before. Going off of that, we can see that it actually lines up with what Elsbieta is known to have one of her best strengths in, extracting intel. Operation Silent Spade is an operation where the Bolivian military is working with Russia in order to mine uranium to use for nuclear results. The operation's goal is to infiltrate and stop the Russians from getting their hands on the uranium. This is exactly what Elsbieta does best, and she is known for this from another operation that happened a year later, Operation Orange Sky. In this operation, Elsbieta is joined by US Navy's intelligent expert Valkyrie. Elsbieta spent months infiltrating a warlord's inner circle, which allowed her to dismantle his network entirely without harming a single civilian. About 10 years after joining Grom, Rainbow found her, and now she is a part of their team. Currently, Elsbieta doesn't have an elite skin, but that's not going to stop us from talking about it. We can speculate on what the skin would be looking like and what the animation could be. We know that her grandfather had a big impact on her life. In fact, she still carries a piece of his uniform around with her. So I'm going to go off that and going to base the uniform off what his uniform would have been back in World War II. If we look at the Polish paratroopers back then, we can see that they actually have a similar style to Jaeger's elite uniform. I would think that hers would be similar to the one on the middle left. Not too simple and not too complicated. I believe that she would also be rocking the side cap. For her animation, I would like to see her parachuting in the background and then dropping into the middle of the screen. Then her parachute can come down, and that can be used as a transition to getting the screen to black. What do you think her elite uniform would be? Well, it turns out, after recording this video, the Ela elite skin was leaked. Unfortunately, it wasn't what I was thinking. They decided to take the month or maybe two of her life where she wanted to be something completely different. Although, being an advocate for fine arts doesn't really scream leather jacket with random stuff on it and mixed colored shoes to me. I'm feeling a more Harley Quinn vibe than fine arts. What do you think? Speaking of thinking about elite skins, did you find this video elite? If so, I would appreciate you hitting that like button. And while you're there, consider subscribing as well. You can see more videos like this or others by clicking something on your screen right now. If you want to read more about the things that I have said, links will be provided in the description. So until next time, stay different.